All right, YouTube, welcome. Thank you guys for coming back and checking out another podcast. It's been a while since I've done one of these, but these take a lot of research and a lot of time and a lot of effort to put together. And so I want to make sure I have the best information and interesting conversation. And sometimes the things I research don't always pan out, or I don't ever finish researching the things I want to research before I do one of these. So it's just going to take a while from time to time. As I run the business, there isn't always a lot of time for this kind of stuff. Tonight's subject, I wanted to talk about dealer paint protection. If you've ever bought a car, new or used, you've probably sat in the finance office and they've offered you all kinds of things, everything from gap insurance to, you know, paint protection, nitrogen in your tires, rim guard. There's all kinds of things they offer you, but paint protection is something that almost every dealership I've interacted with is offering some form of, and this is something I'm uniquely qualified to speak about as a detailer. I've held jobs at dealerships, and I'm not going to name dealerships, but I've held jobs as far as being the detailer, and I've also been in sales, and I've also bought many cars myself and helped friends buy cars and sat in finance offices with them. So I've seen this from a number of different angles, and I just kind of wanted to share my experience so that when you're buying your next car, you can make an educated decision and understand what it is that you're being offered. So I read this article earlier today, and I'm going to start with this. Let me bring up the article and switch screens here. Of course. This was on Car and Driver. It's called New Paint Protection, Everything You Need to Know. This didn't have a date. This was written by Hearst Autos Research, so I'm not really sure. I don't know if this is a regular contributor for them. Anyway, the article starts off, you've chosen your new car, taken it for a test drive, and are sitting in the office discussing options for the vehicle, including new paint protection. This optional treatment is only offered if you're buying a new car. Now pause for a second. That's not true. There are used car dealerships that also offer you paint protection on a used car. So I don't know why they said that. Anyway, you won't see anything change with your car. The shield is sprayed on clear coat. Is a sprayed on clear coat protection added to the paint job before you take the new vehicle home. It's meant to help protect the vehicle from natural occurrences such as bug droppings, chips, and tree sap. Okay, that's something else I have to back up. Most dealerships, and this is an interesting picture they chose here, this is a paint booth. And by the looks of this car, I'm going to assume he's applying the primer coat. So I don't really, they're kind of this is Car and Driver. They should know better. They should really know better in what they're presenting here, because this is not a car that's been freshly painted. This is a car that's being painted, and they're not applying a clear coat yet, I'm gonna guess, unless the car is just this grayish silver, but that's very much a primer color to me. So again, this whole article is on a really weird start, because I haven't even gotten through the intro paragraph, and there's so many little inaccuracies here. Also, I didn't even catch this when I read this earlier. Yes, bug droppings and tree sap, it helps with. You still have to remove them. Paint chips are still going to happen. If a rock hits your car, a rock's taking that paint off. No coatings are going to protect it from that. I'm going to have to stop this article numerous times to address some of these little inaccuracies here. This article was honestly very hard for me to read. Let me continue on, though. What protects your paint scheme? There are several different types of paint protection available. The most common is a spray-on application, as these strong chemicals are not meant for human skin. As the option is explained to you, you'll likely hear brand names such as Diamond Bright and Gardex. I'm sure they've been around for a while, but I've never heard of them. Interesting little tidbit there. According to Canadian Gearhead, the chemicals in your paint protection include polymer paint sealants. These chemicals are meant to provide a layer of protection for a short period of time. That's key. If you want to keep your paint job protected year-round, it's best to have them applied multiple times a year. Ideally, you need to reapply them after washing and polishing your vehicle if it gets really dirty. Now, that's the key. just wax your car. Just wax your car, do some kind of paint protection, ceramic coating. I'm a little biased to say that because I sell them, but something is better than nothing. And that's the thing. They sell you these at the dealership, but they don't really tell you that, yeah, they really do need to be reapplied often. Whatever protection you're getting from them, only they can give you that product miraculously every time. So they have to reapply it for, $500 here, $600 there. Anyway, let me continue. This article is very annoying for someone like me. How is it applied? Per what car? Now that you know what is added to protect your car, or to your car to protect the paint, how do you apply it and when? The short answer is it's applied directly to the color. I can't not stop every 5 seconds with this article because I don't know what they're talking about. The way a car is painted, there's the primer stage that he's doing here. The base coat is applied to the primer stage, and then now in modern days, in older times, there was single stage where it would be primer and then the color. So if this was 1968, this would be accurate. It would be applied directly to the color, but in modern day, it's applied to the clear coat. Now we're in the business of protecting the clear coat, and once the clear coat starts to go, that's when you're going to have really bad oxidation, paint fading, and all kinds of things. Once a scratch is through the clear coat, that's when you just have a scratch for the rest of your car, like if it gets keyed. Again, this article it blows my mind that this came from Car and Driver. Let me try to get through this. I apologize for constantly stopping. The short answer is it's applied directly to the color. There is no wax, polish, or other substance under that protection. It goes onto the raw paint so it can bond to the paint for longer protection. After the paint protection is added, the car is then waxed and shined before it is delivered to you. Can car owners apply the protection themselves? 3Dom Wraps explains that if you're on the fence about paint protection, you may wonder if you can do it yourself to save money. The short answer is, it is not safe. Okay, I have to stop again, because this makes me so mad. I am a detailer. I sell ceramic coatings. Is it advisable for your average person to go out and buy a ceramic coating and ceramic coat their car themselves? I'd probably say no. There are things about it that could potentially be unsafe, but one could learn to do this. I make good money installing ceramic coatings, and I find this offensive that they would suggest that I would never try to convince somebody they're too stupid to figure this out. If they're driven and if they want to learn, it's not hard to learn to do what I do. They sell ceramic coatings on Amazon. You could go buy one. You could try it out. You could mess it up. You could make more problems for yourself than it's worth. This is all possible. But to tell the average person this is just not safe for them to do, so that they can then say that the dealers are trained professionals, which is, as we continue, these are extremely strong chemicals that are applied by trained professionals. There are several reasons for you not to use the substance yourself. All aggravating. If you apply them yourself without the proper safety equipment, you're putting your health at risk. Now, yes, you should, if you're doing a ceramic coating, do it in a well-ventilated area and do it with some type of respiration protection on. That is advisable. It's not advisable to do it without it. There is safety considerations to take. Moving forward. For the protection to work, the car has to be stripped of all other products. If anything is left behind, it won't adhere properly. This is actually true. This is part of the process. This is part of what you can learn to do, or pay someone to do. A professional needs to clean the paint to ensure adhesion. It needs to be cleaned professionally. It needs to be cleaned well and stripped of wax. But any experienced car person who has washed their car and is competent at washing their car could do this. As much as I'd love to sell you all ceramic coatings, I'm just going to level with you. You could do this. There is no way to correct any scratches or swirl marks left behind if you apply it yourself. This is a lie. You are making it much more difficult to remove scratches or swirls if you coat it over scratches and swirls. But it's not possible. The coating can be buffed off in most cases if we're talking about ceramic coatings. I don't know. If you're just reapplying clear coat, then okay, yeah, you might just have that scratch forever. But anyway, continuing on. Dealer detailing. If you ask your salesperson who's going to apply the treatment, they will let you know about their trained professionals. According to 3Dom Raps, if that statement makes you slightly nervous, feel free to ask to see the accreditation for the paint services. You could even speak to the professionals themselves. Stand your ground here, as you're not being a pain. You're just being a concerned owner. Okay. If you're at a car dealership, I'm going to go out on a limb and say most of their detailers are making somewhere between $12 and $15 an hour. Their trained professionals may wash many cars in a day. They may be very skilled at what they do, but they're also hourly employees that a lot of times don't really care. And I'm not trying to throw all dealerships and every detailer under the bus here, because what eventually happens when you're a dealership detailer, as I was, or if you work for anybody else and their car wash, which I did, is you start doing the math and you realize I don't have to do that many cars in a day to really be profitable. So your best detailers go out on their own or end up in really high-end shops, getting paid much, much better. Your average dealership wants the cheapest detailer they can possibly get. They want the cheapest products they can possibly apply. Sorry. I don't know that I can even make it through this whole article without going on a rant. Anyway, let's continue. Is it worth it? Now that you know who's going to do the work and what's involved, the question becomes a financial one. Is the extra money added to the cost of your vehicle worth it? The cost of this option often varies depending on the dealer and the type of car you're buying. Yes, it's worth considering. Because of the money, it can potentially save you down the road. If your car is protected, you won't have to worry about getting it painted before you resell it. If you wash it and take care of it, you don't have to worry about getting it painted before you resell it. The cost of painting a car is quite expensive. This is true. It is also a very detailed process that can potentially delay a future sale. Getting the paperwork on a paint job is also a useful bargaining chip for when you go to sell the car, because it shows the prospective buyer that you took care of it. What shows a prospective buyer that you took care of it is original paint that still looks good. You don't really need the paint or paperwork. I mean, documentation's always good. If you spend money on your car, document it. That's a good rule of thumb. But if I go to buy a car and you're waving an invoice in my face that you've had it repainted, and we're not talking about like a 1968 Mustang that logically has probably been repainted a couple of times. If you have a 2005 car right now in 2024 and you want to brag to me about its paint job and tell me how much money you spent on it, my thought's going to be, why didn't the car just get taken care of? Why does it need a paint job in the first place? Anyway, I'll go back and add a link to the description for the rest of this article, because honestly, I'm tired of reading it. It's a little frustrating to get through. I'm going to have to do a whole separate episode one day about the death of automotive journalism. And I just stumbled upon this article when I was doing my research today for this podcast, and I'm sorry, it's just quite frustrating. I expect much more out of a car enthusiast magazine than what I'm effectively going to call propaganda right now. And a piece to just convince the average person that, like, hey, don't worry about what's out there. I mean, I'll be honest, you don't even need to hire me. If you like to go outside and wash your car and it's therapeutic for you and it's something that gives you pleasure and it's satisfying, do it, because you're going to save a ton of money. It's a very rewarding experience. I'd be glad to take your money, but I would also encourage you to get outside and do it. You're also going to notice little things on your car that are broken. It's a great thing for a car owner to do, to wash their own car. I'm just going to go ahead and skip on to this. So when I was at a dealership, I applied a product called First Place Finish. There's a number of other products out there available, and I'm going to cover a bunch of them. But here's a little YouTube video about first place finish that I wanted you guys to see. Yeah, and this is...
Hi everybody, I'm John Krug, Customer Experience Manager here at Holiday Automotive, and today I'd like to spend a little bit of time with you talking about First Place Finish Car Care System. We offer it here at Holiday Automotive on both new and used vehicles. First Place Finish is a 3-part car care system that...
Oh, did anybody catch that? Did anybody catch that? Let's go back to that article here, because I want to say. This optional treatment is only offered, let me highlight this here. This optional treatment is only offered if you're buying a new car. And what did he just say? New or used vehicles. So you can get the add-on paint protection. Now, of course, there's different types. But you can get this add-on paint protection from just about any dealership on any car they offer, because this is how they make money. The overhead on cars, once you get it in, clean it up, fix it up, replace the brakes, replace the tires, give the car anything it possibly needs, and then still sell the car for a fair market value, there's not a lot of money to be made. So it's all of these finance office products that they have to offer you and get their kickbacks from these companies so that they really make anything, so that they can pay commissions to their salesmen. Anyway, sorry. There's a lot of tangents I'm going to go on tonight. Forgive me.
helps maintain the finish of your new or used vehicle. First, it protects your new vehicle finish from bird droppings, road salt, UV rays, all that stuff that we encounter here in Wisconsin. On the interior, First Place Finish is going to protect your vinyl, carpet, and fabric from fading, cracking.
I should go back and say there's a number of products where, in addition to the exterior paint protection, they're also offering an interior protection. So there's going to be some products that do one or both. It's a little bit of a grab bag.
Staining, that includes oil-based and water-based stains. It's going to protect the entire inside of your vehicle. Now this Mazda 3 has already been coated in the First Place Finish, and next I'd like to show you an extreme example of how this works. I'm going to take black spray paint, spray it on the hood of this vehicle, then light it on fire and see what happens.
Please don't ever do this to your car or anybody else's car. If you do this to a car, you're an idiot. Whatever happens to the car or whatever you burn down is your fault. I do not advocate for this in any way. This is a very stupid parlor trick.
Now this is something you would never do to a normal car, but with the First Place Finish, it should be able to handle this with no problem. First off, I'm going to spray on a big H onto the hood of this vehicle. But that's not enough. Every day you're...
I want to timestamp this to make a point.
A big H onto the hood of this vehicle.
Okay, 115.
But that's not enough. Every day your hood is exposed to UV rays that are beating down on this paint surfaces. So we're going to step it up a notch.
$132.
Let's see if that does it. Now this comes with every First Place Finish. I'm going to use a liberal amount. We're going to wipe it around on the hood of that. And you're going to see with not much scrubbing at all, this is going to come right off.
Okay, and he's kind of throwing off my time here with the speeding up the video. I can't really even begin to estimate how fast he's sped up the video. But even with the video being sped up, you can tell that spray paint...
Have it. Good as...
Let me pause it so you can hear me. That spray paint was not even on the car for 15 seconds by the time he lit it on fire. And then it was not on the car for even minutes by the time he starts buffing it off. This is a very stupid parlor trick, and actually even a number of decent ceramic coating companies, who I'm not going to name, use this same stupid parlor trick in some of their social media promotions, and I honestly hate seeing it. It's very dishonest. One day, if I ever have a junkyard buffing practice hood to play with, I might recreate this to show what I mean here. What is protecting? Well, first of all, when you only, I go back to this. So again, that spray paint really wasn't given a chance to dry and cure, for one thing. It's not going to bond very well to clear coat, for another. And then, while heat is really bad for car paint, this is
Step it up a
seconds. All right, so in 3 to 4 seconds, oh, actually, he starts it again. 3 to 4 seconds. See, why'd you blow it out? Why don't you just leave it burning there? In 3 to 4 seconds the first time, and about 2 seconds the second time, he applied flame to the hood of the car. So why this is a stupid parlor trick is because the clear coat itself, if in good shape, should be able to protect from a light, very light amount of this, which is what he did, a very light amount of this. If you set the car on fire, like actually set the car on fire, you can watch the paint bubble off the metal. No one does this. No one needs to do this. No one's driving their car through a fire. This isn't a Hollywood movie. I absolutely hate this trick. And I hate seeing promotional videos of anybody doing this. Because, again, if we fast forward to here, you're actually going to see that in this case,
Every first place finish. I'm going to use a little.
I mean, what does that look like to you? That's a basic car wax, which, as someone who has physically applied first place finish to a number of cars at said dealership, it was a coat of wax. The customer got charged $500 for an additional coat of wax, and then you could come back to service and have that reapplied at your, 6-month or annual. I don't remember what their recommended time frame was. You could have this, actually, more technically a paint sealant, but effectively a wax, for layman's terms. It's not a $500 product. It's not worth $500. And again, just the fact that he does all this makes it look showy and flashy to make you think, oh wow, this product must be magical because he spray painted the car and then he set it on fire. Ah, I've got to have this. It creates the emotion that drives you to buy this. Is really the whole point of what I'm getting at here. So again, he wipes it all off. It all buffs out. Even that spot where he let it burn and had to blow it out, it all wipes out. Again, your clear coat can do that. I don't want to say once or twice. You might be able to get away with this one time. Please don't try this. If you try this and you have bad results, it's your fault because this is stupid. But again, the other funny thing is this was a car in their showroom.
And there you have it.
I feel sorry for the idiot that bought that car. And they might have had no way of knowing. But again, you've heated up one section of the paint. And while it might have looked fine for a while, I imagine the first place on that hood where the paint failed is right where he set it on fire. Because the rest of it is just going to bake pretty evenly under the sun, under normal UV rays and normal driving conditions. And there's going to be that one area that you overheated that one time. We have to think about heating up the paint when we're buffing it with compound and a buffing pad. The amount of heat you apply to the paint can cause slight undesired results. Never would we think to take a blowtorch to a car. I mean, it's a stupid parlor trick, and it's meant to justify the price tag of what this product comes with. Which, interestingly enough, I will say for this video, I did try again, and I think I had tried years ago to find First Place Finishes website, and they actually don't have a public-facing website because this is exclusively meant to be a dealer-only offered product. That's pretty much all I wanted to show you with this video. I do want to move on to another company product that you've probably heard of, which is Armor All. But what you probably weren't aware of in most cases is that they also offer dealer-only products. So these are products, again, it's not the stuff that you can go to Advance or AutoZone or any of the big parts chains and buy a bottle of off the counter. This is their dealer grade volume product that's then applied to your vehicle and given a very, very hefty markup. And why I wanted to speak about them specifically is I have actually done a grand total of one job for Armor All Dealer Services. I didn't sign any kind of NDA or anything, and I'm pretty sure this isn't anything I can't talk about because I didn't sign any documents with them. What had happened was, as I had mentioned earlier, there's some dealers and some products that also have an interior component to their added protection that you can purchase in the finance office. And in this case, I got a call from a representative working for Armor All who told me they had a client in my area who had spilled something or obtained some kind of stain in the carpet of his vehicle. And because he had purchased their product, they wanted to hire a detailer to go out and treat. And I had to question them about this. This wasn't an interior detail. And this was when I was starting out originally. But they were hiring me to go treat this one stain. Now this isn't something I would ever entertain. But at the time is the more beginning stages of me being self-employed. And so I kind of just had to take whatever came my way at the time. And so I took this job and I, no kidding, found what was effectively a lightly muddy footprint on a floor mat that I was actually able to completely dry back out of the car without applying any chemical or any drill brush or any stain extraction. I did then go and shampoo the floor mat, the single floor mat, to kind of put on a good show, because at this point we're talking about minutes of work. And it blew my mind because this customer was so whiny and useless as a human being that rather than take a vacuum cleaner for 5 seconds to this, you know, I don't know if his kid played soccer, but that's effectively what it looked like. Was his kid had some dirt on his shoe, and it wasn't even that bad, and he just got some dirt on the floor mat. And his first reaction is, oh, well, I paid for this product, and now I have this stain, so I'm going to call this 1-800 number. To which, if you actually file a claim, my whole point for telling the story is they just have to get on the phone and find a detailer in your area to come out and try to treat that problem, which was what I was doing. I had to remove this stain, this dried dirt, out of the floor mat because they had been sold this product and it came with this guarantee. Now, this individual is quite lucky because a lot of these companies wouldn't have done that much, would not have gone that far. They would have explained their way out of it or pointed their finger and blamed the customer and said, it's not our fault and this isn't covered, or you didn't do this or you didn't do that, and so sorry, you don't have a warranty. Again, it's a very interesting experience. Another product that I'm very familiar with is called Zurich Shield. Zurich is in the town in Switzerland, but I don't know if that's a connection or not. And here I just want to say, like, you can see here that this is just a bottle and a spray-on paint sealant, which there's nothing wrong with. You can use spray-on paint sealants all the time. You can go buy many spray-on waxes, ceramic hybrid waxes, or paint sealants at your local auto parts store. You can't buy this product specifically because they are special. I can tell you, one dealership I worked at offered Zurich. I can tell you that I'm very confident. Even though I spent a lot of time in the detailing area of that dealership, I never saw these bottles until I pulled up this website today. I'm pretty certain that particular dealership was not applying anything at all and selling the insurance, which is what the product really is. It's the insurance package that you get where you can call the 1-800 number and complain. And then there is an actual fabric sealant product. And then I don't know if it showed up here. There was a card. There was a card somewhere that I wanted you to see. But basically what I was getting at was there were these cards. And if you've ever sat in a finance office at a dealership, you've probably seen something like this. The card is, let's say, like a piece of paper. Hold up something like this. And on one side of it, it's been treated with their fabric chemical. On the other side of it is not. And so they would just pour some water on the card on both sides and show you, this is the treated section, this is the untreated section. And you could very clearly see water start to bead off of the treated section. And then you could see the untreated section where it would just absorb the water or liquid or whatever they're using, coffee, I don't know. And I'm fairly confident in one place I worked, they were not applying anything. They just sell the insurance policy, you sign the paperwork, and then they send it off. And while this might not be up to the standards of the product companies that they're offering, like Zurich or Armor All, I can tell you there's a lot of dealerships that are doing this. And I don't know what each company's quality control is when they're dealing with their vendors who are applying their products. But why I don't think that this is ultimately problematic for many of these companies is because what they are doing is basically just applying the same, in most cases, great chemicals that you could pretty much just get yourself from a parts store. So they're basically just treating it with things that are copies of things that are commercially available to consumers, and so they can just sell you an insurance policy that lasts for a couple of years on your car, and then by the time your car is really getting old and really maybe has an issue or a bad stain or something like that, you are out of the terms of their warranty policy anyway. And hopefully in their case, most people forget that they even have this policy. Not everyone is going to call a 1-800 number and complain about a muddy footprint in their floor mat. As opposed to just go get a vacuum cleaner and clean it up themselves. So, but there's many cases where you can buy a car and nothing has been put on this car at all. I did find, let me do this first. Just since we were talking about that, I just Amazoned car paint sealant. And you can get anything from, okay, look, here's a ceramic coating. I've never heard of Nanobond. They're probably a cheap one. I don't know. You can get waxes that come in a spray nozzle. Now, something like this is closer to a real ceramic coating. Something like this is closer to a sealant. But again, anything you get on a consumer level, as long as you're just washing and applying it properly to your car in between washes, keeping your washes up. If you get a graphene or a ceramic coating, make sure you know what you're doing. Make sure you follow the instructions. But any of these spray bottle waxes, you can pretty much use effortlessly without having to worry a whole lot about what you're doing. Again, like Meguiar's Ultimate Ceramic Coating. There's a lot of these things. The iron remover, don't use iron remover if you don't know what you're doing. But most of these waxes are pretty cheap. Like, look at them. Some of them range from $9 to $40. You can go to your local parts store and just get some Meguiar's or some turtle wax. It doesn't really matter as long as you do something, and you will save a ton of money. Now, backing up a little bit, I wanted to pull up their Better Business Bureau website. And again, we have, if you've seen other episodes of my podcast, I'm not a big fan of the Better Business Bureau because what they are in the business of is reputation management. What do I mean? Well, if you pay for their accredited business certification on their page, you will have a good rating, and they will help float your bad complaints to the bottom and bury them, basically only show, which in this case, I think all of their complaints are resolved. It's a complaint answered and complaint resolved. Okay. So that's basically it. It's the only statuses they have. There's no unanswered, but this one was pretty telling. And granted, this lady sounds like a bit of a Karen, but I felt like reading this anyway. I'm writing to file a formal complaint against Zurich Shield Automotive Censored. This complaint is in response to their unethical sales tactics, failure to honor a warranty agreement, and blatant disregard of our customer rights. On March 11th, 2002, after waiting 4 hours to be seen by a finance manager, this is sometimes typical of dealerships. Following my finance application submission, I purchased a 2022 Jeep Grand Cherokee from blank Chrysler Jeep Dodge LLC located in blank. It was nearing 5 o'clock in the evening when I finally entered the finance manager's office blank. Despite my excellent credit score of over 800, sure lady. Blank exploited my urgent need to pick up my children from daycare by 6 p.m., pressuring me to purchase Zurich Shield's blank environmental protection, paint protection for $225, and road blank for $305 under the false pretenses that these were necessary for a favorable loan rate. Now, this is absolutely a lie. And basically, this just sounds like she's at a really bad dealership. That's actually why I picked this, because this really isn't a good complaint against Zurich. She has multiple entities involved here, from the crappy salesman to a crappy dealership, and then you are also sold this crappy product. And so there's a lot going on here, but I'm picked this one, and I'm reading this one because this is kind of a typical experience sometimes for people. Not the lying about this. The banks don't really care what you buy in the finance office. It doesn't concern them. In fact, it's probably better for the banks if you don't, because the rate, it's easier for them to get a deal with various credit scores when they're buying cheaper cars. So yeah, the bank's not concerned with your paint protection. I don't know if she made this up or if they really, but I could honestly believe they really told her this. At first, I politely declined. However, Blank suggested that it may further delay the transaction and I would have to come back another time. I work full-time, have 2 small kids, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Getting ahead. In the end, I gave in under pressure and just added these products to my vehicle. On November 21, 2023, I discovered a paint defect, which she doesn't, as a detailer, say. So I'm a little suspicious there. After filing a claim through the Zurich Shield app, why do they have an app? It denied within hours without any subsequent explanation. Despite repeated requests, Zurich Shield has failed to provide any written justification for this denial. To address the issue, I visited blank at blank for assessment. The estimate for repairing the bumper to factory specification was quoted at $400. This was interesting, though. The technician informed me that the damage could have been caused by factors like bird droppings or chemical spillage, which are all things that they claim are covered. And they even said here, where did they say? Unfortunately, the damage of missing paint is listed under the exclusion. Listed as, excuse me. Fortunately, the damage of missing paint is a listed exclusion under our product warranty. Now, I don't know what happens here. I don't know what really the truth is in this complaint, but it is very typical that people get these warranties. They think it covers everything. They think their car is just good forever. And if they actually have an issue with the car, with the longevity of the car and the paint or anything, and they go to file a claim, they find out that these companies protect themselves very well. They find out that there's a lot of things that are anticipated to go wrong in a certain amount of time, and they're just not going to honor that. So why the Car and Driver article said they would only do this for new cars is it's actually a better business model for these companies. If you only do this to a new car and your warranty only lasts no more than 5 years, that would be a very generous one, but bear with me. If it's 1 to 3 years, might be more typical. I'm not really sure. It's going to depend on the product, but if you buy a brand new car, what's really going to go wrong with the paint in 3 years? Maybe even 5 years? If you buy a used car, there's chances the paint already has problems that you're not aware of. While it could still be shined up and polished up and made to look a lot better, there are things going on in the car, maybe rust from underneath. There's all kinds of things that can happen to a car's paint if it's used. So this is not an uncommon story. And I say this just to let people know that if you are at a dealership and everything's good. You like the car, you've driven the car, their advertised price is good, you see the taxes, you see the docs fees, all this is fine. A lot of times now, with the market data the way it is, and everybody knowing what prices are what at the dealer down the street and the dealer 3 towns over, it's very hard to find bargaining power when you're buying a car. But one thing that every client always has in every car they ever buy is you don't have to buy this shit. You do not have to buy the stuff they're trying to sell you in the finance office. You've signed that deal and you've said, I will buy this car for this price. And sometimes it's a lot of times stuff like this Zurich will be on that first pencil, as they call it. You have the price of the car, you have your tax tags and doc fee, and then somewhere in there's the line item of the paint protection or the nitrogen in the tires. Sometimes they're calling it a reconditioning fee now and burying it in that because that's less objectable than all these products that I don't want. But when you see Zurich Shield, Armor All, first place finish, you can demand to have that taken off the car. Now, sometimes you have to, be a little harsh and threaten to walk out. Now, don't be rude. Don't be an asshole. But if you agree on the price and they agree on the price and your only objection is that $500 first place finish and that's going to kill the deal and you're going to get up and walk away, at very least, if you play hardball, they will discount that car, the price of that $500, and just lose out on some will refuse to take it off the invoice and say, we already put it on the car, so we have to line item it to show we sold it. Others will just take off the line item and take off the $500 that way. Sometimes they discount the price of the car itself to match the line item. Take it how you can get it. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day what the invoice says, as long as you're not paying that extra price of that product. That's your bargaining tool. They're not willing to lose a sale when it comes down to it in most cases. I've heard of a few stories where they played hardball too and they were willing to lose that sale. But in most cases, if you're going to give them their little bit of markup in the car, if you're going to give them a reasonable price and you just don't want to pay for these add-ons, they'll sell you the car. But I say all that to say, and I know this because many deals I've sold have gone that way. If that was their only objection, they'll go back to the manager and they will get it taken off. They will get it fixed to sell you that car. Now, interestingly enough, the last time I bought a car was my 2019 Ford Transit Connect. And if you've seen my social medias, you've seen that van before, I'm sure. So I was going to do a video when I bought it because I bought it in the worst possible time in 2022, right after the chip shortage. I had a vehicle I was trying to get out of. I wanted this to go into the business, and I made a number of mistakes that day. I didn't eat beforehand, so I was on an empty stomach. I was tired. I was exhausted. We had to drive from Raleigh to Winston-Salem, and then drive the vehicle back to back home to Raleigh. So eat something before you go to the dealership, because ultimately I knocked out all of my metrics for where I wanted that deal to be. I exceeded my own goals by so much. Never tell them that, by the way. Never really tell them where you want to be. Just keep making offers. As long as the deal's moving forward, they're not going to press you that hard. So I didn't tell them what I wanted for a monthly payment. I didn't tell them how much I wanted to spend out the door. I just negotiated the deal until I liked where it was. And honestly, the first pencil was pretty good compared to what I had estimated it all out to be. I beat my own goals. And that was with the first place finish on the ticket. And I argued them and I gave in very quickly because you know what? I was like, I beat my monthly payment metric by $50 a month. They accepted the trade-in value I wanted for my trade right away, which tells me I should have asked for a little more. But also, the outstanding loan of what I was going to be financing for the new vehicle significantly lowered my outstanding debt from the vehicle I was trading in because that had gained a lot of equity at the time. It was a very the moons aligned kind of deal. And so ultimately I gave in and just said, you know what, screw it. If I really get that $500 off my out the door price, it's not going to affect my monthly payments enough that I really even care. And I just want to take this van and leave and go eat. And that's what I did. So, despite knowing better, the last vehicle I bought had this first place finish on it. And the reason why I gave in so easily is, as I sat at that salesman's desk, it occurred to me, I have a unique opportunity as a detailer to review this product for you, to show you why I am making a whole episode about not buying paint protection from a dealer. Because why it burns me is when someone hears ceramic coating, and I talk to a bunch of people that they think, because of their experiences with these dealerships, that ceramic coating is garbage. No, it's great. It's a great thing. If you get a good product and you have a qualified detailer installing it, I absolutely recommend ceramic coatings. Both of my cars are ceramic coated. But when I got the van, it had first place finish specifically. So let me shift over to, let me go back to this. No, it's really not a great backdrop for this. Let me just do this. Just so you know what we're talking about here. Let's just leave this up on screen. Okay. Now, I'm going to pull up these videos, and I want to show you a couple of different things here. So, I also forgot the condition of this vehicle when I got it. It's pretty clean because this was a 2019, and this video is being shot in 2022. So it's in pretty good shape, as you can tell by the wheels. Like, it is dirty right now in this video. Here's something I want to stop and show you real quick. And I zoomed in on this door handle because, come on, hold on. Let me go back a little bit because that was pretty key. Yeah. This right here on this door handle, this is the wax residue. Because again, first place finish is just a wax. That's all you're getting for $500. You're getting a wax. I didn't even get the little, if I go back to that video, the guy shows, I didn't show you the whole video, but the guy shows this package of all of the other car care products that come with buying a first place finish. And of course, there's different price points. I think you have to spend like well over $1,000. I don't know exactly, but it's not cheap to get that kit of all of the other products. I never got the extra products. I just got for $500, wax residue on my door. And I mean, you see, like, the paint's in good shape because though it had 85,000 miles on it when I bought it, and it was a work vehicle, the paint was in pretty good shape for a work truck. And again, it's just kind of a walk around here to show you that there's little droppings from birds and stuff. But I mean, at this point, like, it was time for a wash with this vehicle. So, yeah, I just wanted to show you, like, the black trim. There was a couple spots where the wax residue had gotten over onto my vehicle here. So I did a retake of that. Not sure. So this is all the footage that I was going to do in a YouTube video, but to be honest with you, I got really tired of, I don't really enjoy editing, and I prefer this live format a little bit better because I can just do it and talk to you about it. But again, there's that door handle again. It's really annoying. You're paying $500 for, as a detailer, if I waxed someone's car with paste wax and I got wax residue all over the black trim and I charged them $100, they would probably complain about that. And here you're getting charged at a dealership $500 for the privilege of having some hourly employee haphazardly just blast paste all over your car. So here is a spray test. Oh yeah. The stuff's supposed to protect against bird droppings. So I wanted to show you the stains that were on the roof. Like, it's supposed to protect. So again, it's kind of unimpressive for a $500 coat of wax. let's go to the spray test. So what you look for if you get any kind of wax or ceramic coating or anything is you want to look to see how well the water beads off. And as you see here, it just saturates. There's a little bit of beading on the passenger door right above my head, but the other door was just kind of saturated. And I did the same thing to the rear of the vehicle, so check this out. So as you see, it got, some water beading up here by where it says Transit Connect, but right down here by the Ford logo, it was just more saturated. It wasn't beading off quite as rapidly as you would hope. And that's, that's how the water beading was with the first place finish before a wash, sorry. And I don't know. Okay, I did get one of the door again. This was after I washed the car. So the car's clean now. The water beading of the first place finish with no dirt and contaminants. And so as you see, it's not responding like it's really coated with anything, like not even a basic coat of wax. Because the thing about average normal wax, a little bit of beading underneath the door, but not really here where I should put the camera, so it's just saturated. So the thing with even a normal coat of wax is you're going to get some pretty decent water beading right away. However, it doesn't last very long. A couple of rainstorms, and while your car might still have some very, very fine protection, and it's better than nothing, the water beading is going to go away very, very soon. A lot of these newer ceramic waxes will give you a little bit longer lasting protection, but a true ceramic coating that's professionally applied, whether by an actual professional or an educated hobbyist, makes a huge difference. So the rest of these videos, I'm not going to show you absolutely every single one because I was trying to show just the entire process of what an actual ceramic coating entails. And I mean, if you just look at the names of these videos, washing the roof, wash phase, I did an iron decontamination, I did a rinse, I did a clay bar after the iron decontamination. And then after I clay barred a good bit of the car, I then went around and did a quick light polish. So, I mean, just to give you, I'll do a couple of these. So what you see here, hold on, let me mute this if you don't mind. What you see here running down off the car is iron removers turn usually purple when they come in contact with the iron, and then you want to rinse it off the vehicle. So this is to get, the iron fallout off of, it embeds itself into the paint. So this is one of the first things you want to remove. And after you do that, we have a clay bar. So a little bit of a clay bar lubricant there. And then just over the paint to just further remove any embedded contaminants. And these are not only good for your paint, this is what's going to enhance the water beading, because any contaminants that are stuck in the paint is what cause the paint, or it's what causes the water on your paint to give that saturated look when the car gets wet. Removing all the contaminants, if you just do a really thorough, proper wash, iron removal, and clay bar, you should probably see some water beading just from that alone. The wax is to protect that and to lock that in, to keep that water beading going on as long as possible. And I show you all this so that you understand. A good ceramic coating that people pay good money for involves a lot of these processes to be done to it. I mean, that's what you're paying for. You're paying for... Let me mute that because it's probably really annoying. You're paying for this whole process to be done to your vehicle. You know, sometimes the paint correction, that's going to vary a little bit, and that can raise the price based on how much needs to be done. But definitely a thorough wash, iron remover, and clay barring. And then if you're clay barring, at least a light polish to remove some of the defects that can possibly cause. But you want to remove all the contaminants possible. And then this polish is really where you're going to get the gloss from your ceramic coating. Now, dealers have to pop out these cars as fast as possible. They have trained hourly employees that, you know, if you're lucky, they're drug tested. In some cases, I'll tell you, a lot of detailers are big potheads. Sorry, detailing community. It's the truth. And usually it's going to be your I work for other people kind of detailers and not your self-employed business owners, because we want to make money. We want to do the best we can do, and we usually don't have time for that kind of thing. But the guy who still punches a clock at a dealership every day, he just wants to not be there. So again, this is the difference of service that you're getting. Now, and then let me just go back and stop that. All right, so really quickly, I'm going to show you what the ceramic application process looks like. So I've already applied some of the coating to that pad, and I'm now going to apply this in a cross hatch pattern. So I'm going to go horizontally. Actually, I went down the middle, and then I'm going horizontally. And then I'm going to go up and down. And you're not really going to see here. You can kind of see a little bit of a haze from this. You're not really going to get to see it flash. And by flash, what that is these ceramic chemicals are suspended in a solvent. And the solvent, once you start applying it, starts kind of evaporating, leaving behind the ceramic chemical. And so just about as soon as you apply it to a section that size, you've got to then come behind and start wiping it up. You have 30 seconds to 60 seconds, depending on the type of coating you're using, to start wiping that up, or else it's going to start leaving what are called high spots. High spots are going to look like streaks, basically. And that's the sections you have to work in. Like, they basically say 2 foot by 2 foot sections. It's a little bit bigger, so that's probably like, what, 3.5 feet by 2 feet, something like that. But that's the section you get to work in. So I can put just enough coating on that little section, and then I have to do the center of the hood, and then I have to do the other side of the hood. And you have to do each panel like that. I can't just, if I try to do that whole panel all at once. You also notice it took me 2 rags to get that off. You wanted a very low pleat for the bulk, and then you wanted a high pleat towel to come back and just make sure you're getting absolutely everything you can possibly get to not leave high spots. Now, that is the coating that detailers charge hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for, because this was 8 hours worth of work easily, never touching the inside of that vehicle. Now, why? Remember the first walk around. Now this was, as you can see, tire shine, wheels are clean. Notice the gloss. Like, this is more than just it's been washed. This is the polish, the decontamination, the polish. Yeah, just look at that reflection. It's beautiful. Also, I got the wax residue off my door handles. I still had some swirling on the hood, but I didn't go super hard because, again, it's a work vehicle. Better than what it was all I was really going for. And this was a couple, it's been so long I can't even remember, but after I had finished that coating, I drove it around for a while and I let it get dirty again. And then I decided to take another spray test video to show you what the water beading would look like when I hadn't washed the car after it had been ceramic coated with a real product. And that is this video. I mean, look at the difference. That water did not want to stick to that paint at all. That was the vehicle dirty. Now, if I come back and do that again, this was after washing it. Even more aggressively beating off the vehicle. So you see, that's what you pay for with a ceramic coating. So I mean, honestly, next time you're at a dealership and they're like, oh, it's already coated with a product. I mean, it's probably been waxed at very least. But if you don't even think it's been waxed, you can go outside and you can just take a bottle of water and you can just start to pour it over the hood or pour it over a different side of the car and watch the water beading. Look for it to do this. And if it doesn't do that, tell them that you're not going to pay for, oops, not trying to, oh look, I mean, you can get first place finish on, oh, this guy's in Selma. But then again, you're not talking about the wax they're actually putting on the car. In most cases, you're talking about the products that they send you home after you spend $1,000. And this is what I was talking about. This is the stuff that, and again, look, after they pay all this money for this product, they then go put it on eBay hoping that somebody else will buy it because it's not worth it. I mean, look at this. Exterior renewer, so that's going to be the wax. Sudsless fabric cleaner. Vinyl leather conditioner. Car wash. Tire dressing. You can go to any parts store and you can get those things for not that much money comparatively to what this kit would cost you. So that's basically all I had for you tonight. Managed to do it in just about an hour. But if you have any questions, if there's any products I have not heard of, again, my opinion on them is probably all going to be the same. If you're at a higher end dealership buying much, and I'm not talking Mercedes or BMW, I'm talking like an exotic dealership, they maybe, depending on who they are, offer real ceramic coatings and real PPF. You're still going to pay a substantial markup for those. But if you're at Honda, Toyota, Dodge, Ford, wherever, or any used car place for that matter, you can probably bet that they're maybe putting on some of these products if they're giving you anything and they're just marking it up. So yeah, any questions anybody has, if there's another product, you know, I'll take a look at it if I have time. I'm gonna be honest, but I'm probably very biasedly going to assume that these are all the same, unless they offer these products directly to consumers so that you can use them yourself, or unless you show me a very high-end dealership, or certain mom and pop places might have a, I want to say, what's the guy that was the Chevy dude opened his own dealership and he started his own detailing business. And his detailing business, as I understand, ceramic coats the cars that he sells at his dealership. So that is going to be one of those exceptions to the rule. And if I remember correctly, that dealership, or at least that detailing service, is called Five Diamonds Detailing. If anybody sees this and I got that wrong, please correct me. But yeah, check out Chevy Jude. Check out my channel. Subscribe to this channel. But check out Chevy Jude's channel. He has a very unique perspective on how to run a dealership. I love his videos. He's very honest, open, and transparent. about dealerships and about some of the games they play. There's, I think, one or two things that maybe don't agree with him on, but they're very minor, and he seems very low pressure and low key. But in general, your average dealership down the street from you, that place that you're looking at trying to buy a car, they're probably going to play these games. Please like this video. Please subscribe to this channel. Making these kinds of videos do not make me a lot of friends in the industry. So the more you support this video and this channel, the more of these videos I will bring you. Thank you very much, and I will see you.